Thank you to everybody for coming tonight. We try to do these every other month and try to create for you an agenda that's pretty packed into 1 hour and try to be as interesting, as informative on key topics that we can do. So you can see already it's pretty packed. Most of the talks are just 5 minutes long, and sometimes 10, and the keynote up to 15. I'd like first to thank our hosts, Niello, Audi. Let's give them a round of applause. Judging from the volume of that, I think certainly the food just was over the top. So I think you guys did well.
That's Kendra.
And are there restrooms nearby? If there's someone.
You're just going to be right past these glass cases right here. I'll just see if we can put a light on just in the hallway. That way
Okay.
They're right here.
All right. So again, thank you. Also want to make sure we always remember to thank Eugen Dunlap, our videographer. Every meeting he's here. And so if you miss a meeting, within a week or two, he'll have it up on the web. You can jump around. You can skip the parts I'm in and get to the meaty part. So he does a great job on that. All right. New members. People who've been. This is their first real meeting. Got 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, we promised new members a gift, and it's Becky. You want to show our members what we have? You have a pair of sunglasses. Nissan. We also
have a wonderful Queen City, Sacramento tire gauge. Beautiful. Beautiful blue.
Having an electric car doesn't mean you get flats. Don't get flats.
Should you wish, this lovely eyeglass cleaner.
Or a screen cleaner.
Or a screen cleaner. Lovely, various colors. And to charge that lovely iPhone of yours, or smartphone, I should say, this lovely Nissan Leaf battery.
So if you're on the road, you get a little extra battery.
Because you're new to our association. So, remember, what can I offer for you? Well, perfect.
All right, so new members, please connect with Becky for your gift.
And make sure that new members especially sign up on our form. Yes?
All right. Is that? Oh, that's pictures is kind of. So the last month or so was not. We no longer have an Earth Day. Earth Day, I officially declare Earth Day no longer exists. It's Earth Month. We had 17 events. 3 of them were rained out, but the last 2 weeks were just incredible. And these are some pictures that hard to see, but I'd like everybody who was at an Earth Day event or contributed to that, can you stand up for this moment so we can. So I think it's the work that the membership puts in that makes these things happen. And we're here to change the world. I mean, we're doing it one car at a time, one engagement at a time. We had, these are some of the most recent events. Even as a couple days ago, David, where David is, back there up at SMUD Solar Car Races. We had, you can't see, cut off 2,700 one-on-one interactions with people. So we're out there. We appreciate Niello having the facilities, but we're also trying to help deliver them customers. So they took a survey at one of the events, the test drive event. 54% had no plug-in electric vehicle experience at all. I thought that was high. I thought the communities were getting better than that, but that's huge. That shows that there's a long way to go. Big opportunities to educate people. 50% of them said they would still buy an all-electric vehicle, and a third almost said they would buy a plug-in hybrid. And Andy's going to give us even more reasons to buy electric plug-in hybrids coming up here. 67, we're at least familiar with what home charging was about and with different charging levels. Some of that may also be because they were out talking to our volunteers before they went on the test drive. So I'd like to next hand it over to Niello to talk about their new vehicle, their plug-in hybrid. Who would you like?
Hi, how are you guys? Welcome to Niello. As you can see, we want to thank you guys for being here and spending some time with us and seeing our dealership. We want to be a part of more of these EV events. We find interest in it, and so we want to contribute and be involved as much as possible. And again, we want to thank you guys. We're going to talk about the Audi E-Tron here, and without further ado, we have Eloy here. He's another technologist here. And what we do is explain the product inside of the vehicles, so Bluetooth navigation, all the technology inside the vehicles. And so Eloy is going to explain to you our hybrid vehicle, which is the 2016 A3 E-Tron.
So, welcome. My name's Eloy Duran. You just met Justin Nesbitt. We're the resident technologists here at Niello Audi. I could go on in lengths about my love for the vehicles, how I represent the vehicle. Again, just to touch base, we do explain a little bit about the technology that goes into the vehicle, but in terms of the customer or client interface, the multimedia interface that the vehicles are equipped with, that's what we focus on. We focus on the introduction, the acclimation, and then the overall presence of how you use the vehicles in a day-to-day basis, kind of to better your driving experience, so to speak. So I don't want to go into it too much because I tend to talk. So I'll just touch base on what I have written down. Again, welcome to Niello Audi. We're privileged to provide this venue for an open forum. Thank you to SacEV for your consideration with us in the EV market. I myself am pleased to represent companies such as Niello in the import market through Audi, along with BMW, Fiat, Volkswagen, just to name a few of the plug-in or electric vehicle hybrids in the market for clean air, go green social initiatives. The introduction of the Audi e-tron has been formed and designed without compromise. The platform of the A3 provides an ideal basis for Audi to introduce the concept 10 years in the making, 20 plus years in theory. Back between 2007 2009, the e-tron was to take an R8 form. I was pleased when they were concepted the A3 e-tron fashion in 2010 as a sedan. I'm a big fan of the sedans. So, albeit they decided on the Sportback or hatchback or hot hatch from the days of the Rabbit and the Civic, when vehicles were starting to go into the more economical base back in the mid to late 70s. In short, Audi's introduction to the United States electric vehicle segment is timely, functional, and poignant for a healthier Earth in existence. So, thank you very much for that time, and I'll hand it back over to Guy. Actually going to reserve our questions a little bit more for after, during the meet and greet. We'll have a vehicle out here for show. Of course, Justin can be there. I myself will be in the drive here. We actually have Elise, who brought her own vehicle. She's more than willing to answer questions.
You can talk to me after the event.
In terms of real time or real world applications as well.
I know what you're going to ask.
I don't want much of my answers to be too canned. I like them to be kind of in the moment, especially when we're sitting in the vehicle. So, if you don't mind.
Terrific, but I will ask, just maybe, just you want to just say a word as a driver. How many miles have you had the e-tron?
Well, so for those of you who don't know me, I'm Elise Ketty. You certainly have used...
Hold on, I'm sorry.
Oh, Lord. I really don't want to use the mic. I'm Elise Ketty. I actually am at the Air Resources Board and Mark Williams is part of my team. The late Craig Childers was also part of my team. I'm on my second plug-in hybrid. I started 3 years ago with a Ford C-Max Energy, which is a perfectly good car. And 2 months ago, in fact, 2 months ago today, I picked up my A3 E-Tron, and it's a phenomenal car. It's amazing. Now see, I'm going to go on and spare you the details, but for those of you who are interested in it, you know, one key feature is Audi released this in Europe for a good year before they had its U.S. introduction. So they kind of got the kinks out during their European introduction. It's phenomenal. I have 2,800 miles on it now. I think I may be on my third or fourth tank of gas. Realize I have a plug-in hybrid because my driving needs are pretty expansive. I go to the Bay Area regularly. Thanks to Eloy, I reset one of my trip odometers every time I fill up. So I can say on this current tank of fuel, I probably have 3/8 of a tank left, and I'm already well over 700 miles on it. The battery is, so one thing that Andy will ask, it is an 8.8 kilowatt hour battery. 6.6 of that is usable. Thanks to ChargePoint, that I was able to figure that one out. But anyway, so its EPA range is 17, but real world is 20-ish. And it is all electric. Kion is electric, and it is all electric, well over 80 mph. So more questions we can cover after the event.
Thank you. A few minutes ago, about a half hour ago, I heard another person that had tried out the E-Tron and gave me some initial thoughts from him. Oh, I'm going to see if I can ask you to repeat those, Thomas.
Oh. I actually fit very well in the back seat, and I'm a larger person. So other like the Volt, the Leaf, and even the Tesla, the back seats aren't extremely comfortable for me, whereas the A3 was.
There we go. All right. So, and we'll do. So there was the. Has anybody heard of Mr. German before? He was a bit of a scofflaw, difficult person, ran in with the law. Back in a few years back, he was driving a car for New York's electric vehicle company as a taxi driver. He was actually chased down doing 12 miles an hour in an 8-mile-an-hour zone. All right, the policeman was riding a bicycle when he caught him, and it was on Lexington Street down in New York. So he was given he has the honor of the first ticket for any car. Was his electric car. You see the first ticket, and a couple nights in jail. So, you know, from the very beginning, they took these speeding seriously. I mentioned that to just kind of give a little bit of perspective, that even though it started way long period back, still look at how far we're coming with the sales. This is cumulative sales in the US. The bottom line, California. You can see we're over 400,000. We'll be breaking over 200,000 as well in California. So making some big headway in this. Worldwide is even more dramatic. But now we want to look at how are we doing in our region. You can see the counties that surround us in Sacramento. You can see it was climbing quite a bit, then it's kind of gone flat. But going flat is not a small achievement. I mean, getting people to continue to buy more EVs every month is a big deal. So of course the gas, challenges like the gas prices have made it difficult to keep on an upward climb. But this is still very good. We're doing around 200 cars a month. These numbers here that you see on the chart are actually about 30% underreported. They don't include certain vehicles that are municipal vehicles and so forth. But so our actual numbers are in around 200 electric vehicles a month. And we're now about 9,000 cars in this region. How many people typically see another electric car when they're on an outing? Just almost everybody. A year ago, 2 years ago, we didn't. That wasn't true. So we can just see it in what we're doing day to day. And I'd like to hand this over to Laura, talk about one of the activities that Tesla Group is doing.
I'm with SacEV, but as well as the Northern California Tesla Owners Club, the newly formed club. And this coming Saturday, we are having a poker run. It's actually a fundraiser. It is not required that you have a Tesla. That's not the point. It's the first all-electric poker run. Typically, they're done with motorcycles and stuff. And we're going to actually start at the Hyatt Regency. Whoops, my audio visuals. We're going to start at the Hyatt Regency in downtown Sacramento, which Phil Hoptelect is, how many chargers are you guys putting in down there? 26 chargers. 26? 26. It's what, every floor of the garage?
Just valet and the roof only.
Oh, valet and the roof. But yay. So they're putting in chargers. And we really do want to showcase what they're doing and let people know that hotels are really taking an initiative. And then we're going to go to Rancho, out to El Dorado Hills, and then to 2 wineries in Amador County. So it's not a super long route. I think we figured it out. It was about maybe 80 miles. But there is some charging available. So it's not exclusive, but if you're concerned and you don't think you have the range, we can find you a seat in a car if you want to participate. But it's going to be a lot of fun. So it's our first event, and we hope people will join us. Our website's norcalreno.com, and there's a registration page on there. And then other than that, I have a question. This is put back my SacEV hat. I'm going unscripted. Guy will be so happy with me. This is our 3rd event at dealerships, or in the case of last time at Tesla at the manufacturer. Do you guys like this? Yeah. I mean, I think it's really nice to see what the various dealers are doing. Gives you a chance to ask questions, put them on the spot. I think Eugen had the question about charging at Tesla, why he had to go down to the street to Mercedes. So I think it's good. I think it's good that we actually ask the questions of these dealers, and it gives them a chance to give us a little education on their newer products, what they're coming out with. So that was just kind of my little unofficial poll, whether you guys like this, because I think we do, and I know John L. Sullivan is hoping to host it when the Bolt comes out. So we're looking forward to hopefully firming that up as we get closer to when they release the car. So that's it. So we hope you will join us on Saturday, because I think it will be a lot of fun. And there's tons of prizes, and we have really great sponsors. Anybody want to join us? I hope so.
Yeah, how many people are thinking of going?
I'm going. Yeah. It's Saturday. This coming Saturday. We start at the Hyatt at 10:30. We are going to take a boatload of pictures. We're going to have a whole slew as we all head out, all the electric cars. And then, like I said, we go to Rancho, El Dorado Hills, and 2 wineries in Plymouth.
Can you explain what a poker run is? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a fundraiser. I actually have the scorecard because this is going in the goodie bags for the participants. But you draw a card at each stop, and the best poker hand wins. And there's tons of prizes. We have Tesla prizes. We have NorCal Reno prizes. EV Annex gave us a bunch of books and stuff. We've got actually a lot of really fun stuff. So the idea is to get the best poker hand. No.
A suggestion, I joined the club after the last meeting, and well, I'm out of town next Saturday anyway, but I went on the site to look at the registration. There is no indication on it that there were seats in a car that was an option.
Yeah, and I asked Omar did our website. Huh? The question is if you want seats. My suggestion is if people are interested, I think he just decided, well, if people ask the question, because we've told people and we've tried to make sure we've gotten it out there, whether it's through Facebook or something, feel free, still join us, because not all the cars are going to be Teslas. Please feel free to join us or to let us know and reach out. And so certainly you can email, and Omar gets the emails, and he's pretty good about it. So. But yeah, we will match people up with a car if people want to go. We really love to have you. I think it's going to be a ton of fun.
Next we have Ralph Troute from SMUD.
That's cool. All right. So, we received these little stickers from the DOE. We got a box of 10,000 of them. And they asked us to distribute them with the following understanding. As an organization or individual must buy the following guidelines as published through the EV Everywhere decal and the Department of Energy. As a EV Everywhere decal must not be used in a manner that expressly or implicitly implies that the federal government and the Department of Energy do not agree with your views, opinions, or other services, and that this decal is not to be defamed. So with that said, I have a stack of these over here that you're welcome to use them as long as you don't defame the federal government. So. EV Everywhere. It's a web page. It's the intent to try to disseminate information in regards to electric vehicles. Take a stack and pass them around. Like I said, I'll see you next month. I'll read it again, and I'll make sure everybody gets more. With regards to electric vehicle charging stations, so the goal is, I was hoping to have the fast charging parking lot at the airport done by Memorial Weekend. So the fast charging station at the airport is currently under construction. We had a late start due to the weather and permitting problems and permitting delays with regards to the county. We eventually got started, as you probably have noticed. Mechanically, we're in. Electrically, we're not. We had some problems with lead times, and so we're waiting for the electrical parts to show up and we'll be able to finish it. I'm hoping to wrap it up and have it up and running the week of June 6th. Again, week of June 6th is our current target to have it up and running, and there'll be a grand opening with the county and SMUD probably 2 or 3 weeks later, again, depending on the schedules for the county commissioners and the executive management from SMUD.
Are you going to invite the rental car companies at the airport to show up at the grand opening?
A rental car company is going to be invited. I'm not in charge of the invitee list. I know you guys will be invited because we want to have you there with all your various EVs, especially those of you who can use the fast charger. We'd love to have a live demonstration for the TV networks of a fast charger usage. Currently, SMUD is also working with Tesla off of corporate offices to accept their payment system, so you don't require a special card. If you have a Tesla and the adapter for the CHAdeMO, you'll be able to use our system and payment system with the Tesla, part of a universal type program, so that's in work. We're also switching over our credit card reader to the Tap and Go smartphone payment system with the chip system, so that eliminates the need for swiping your card and all that other stuff. You just use the Tap and Go like they show on TV. Again, we plan on having that installed, and it depends on the credit card companies. Right now, they're telling us end of May. If it comes in earlier, I'll let you know. If it doesn't, I'll let you know that as well. But currently, end of May. Question? Would that be like Apple Pay? Apple Pay, ProPay, Samsung Pay, that type of system. We just use your phone and go. Yeah. The whole idea is to make it simpler and easy for you, and also fraud protection, and protect you as a customer. Yes, another question?
Do you know if there's any effort at the airport to have those shuttle buses that people take out to the remote lots be electric? Because I recently went to a presentation in San Diego, and it sounds like they're doing that there.
Electric transportation for the commuter buses at the airport. There's talk about it, but it's all about money and finances and budgets. And right now, I don't know if it's an issue for them. I know right now they're really working hard with the airport with regards to the airlines that rent the space to be there to start using electric push vehicles and luggage cart vehicles and stop burning fuels or whatever kind of fuel they're using. As far as the commuter buses that run around the airport, I don't know if they're going to be electric or not. I haven't heard, but I'll ask and I'll let Guy know what I find out. It's a good question. Anything else?
Yeah, Rob.
Yeah.
I didn't catch it. When you were talking about the payment systems,
The question was the payment system upgrades, going away from the credit card reader to the iPhone Tap and Go and Samsung. It will be all of them. All of them. Well, I'll change out all of them all at the same time. Yep, that's my intent. Any other questions? So the airport on or about the week of June 6th, I currently have a request for bids out for a general and electrical contractor to build the electric vehicle parking lot at Nugget on Elk Grove Boulevard. As soon as I can, we have to follow government rules and regulations about bid award, and all that stuff. So I'm hoping to break ground out there August 1st, having all the permitting completed, and then have it operational sometime late September. Sacramento Food Co-op parking garage is done. The installation of the mechanical systems is in place, electrical wiring is done. I need to get the inspections completed for the electrical, and I can install the meters, and that will be up and running over the Sac Food Co-op's new location at the parking garage, level 2 EVSEs. The fast charger will go in directly in front of the new grocery store once the grocery store opens, probably in September. Currently, they're forecasting September, so the fast charger will go in about the same time the doors open up. And lastly but least, Amtrak station downtown. We finally, this week, got the building permit to go. So the contractor who's building and installing the equipment at the airport, as soon as the airport's done, he will transition to Amtrak and build that site. SMUD was also, through Air Resources Board, awarded a grant to install the second DC fast charger immediately. I've already contacted FSEC. I got a bid. They're going to prioritize and get it here quickly so I can get both fast chargers installed right away. And that will be at the Amtrak station on I Street, directly below the I-5 overpass. And hopefully our goal for that one, again, is also late September. That's going to be the end of the SMUD-owned, SMUD-operated EV charging stations. The management at SMUD has decided they don't want to build these anymore. When John DeStasio started this program 4 years ago, who was our CEO, said we need to understand everything there is to know about electric transportation in terms of all of its gotchas and cost. And there have been a tremendous amount of gotchas, and lately with the new green building codes and ADA access and ADA path of travel, that has driven the cost. Honestly, guys, it doubled my price. When you've got to put all of that equipment near a ADA parking area so that those with handicaps have accessibility, and also because it's near a grocery store, a place where they would want to frequent and use the bathrooms or buy a cup of coffee, they have to have a way to get into the store. Those costs have to be absorbed by me, the builder. And it has been a difficult lesson. We've had to tear up one project site and start over because we didn't put in enough path of travels and the correct path of travel. So as we go forward, I expect more people to find this out the hard way, and hopefully we can educate them sooner rather than later that accessibility is the law. We have to comply, but just be aware that as a provider of a service, as a utility, it was, well, Citrus Heights. Everybody's been to the Citrus Heights site out here on Antelope Road, at least been through it, know where it's at and seen it. Yeah, that site cost me $418,000 to build. $418,000. I was originally budgeted slightly over $150,000, so I came in more than twice budget because of the cost associated with ADA. Yeah,
existing sites, are they going to be grandfathered in, or are they going to make a change?
The question was existing sites. ADA does not grandfather in anybody. You're going to have to update. And there's a within the authority having jurisdiction, who you file your permits with, there's a schedule for hardship with regards to cost. Now, SMUD, we didn't file that. We just said, you know what, we need to do the right thing for the right reasons and just bite the bullet and do it, and regardless of the cost. And that was the direction I was given. Get it done right. And we did. And boy, was it expensive.
Yeah, but at the grandfathering, if there's an existing lot and you're not doing any major changes, then you don't have to do anything.
The question was, if it's an existing lot and you're doing no upgrades, you don't have to change. That's correct. That's correct. Yes? Question?
It's a rhetorical question, but having just seen the hydrogen station in West Sacramento for the first time, how on earth can you ever make that ADA compliant?
Hydrogen station ADA compliant. I don't know. That's like well, to look at the fast charger and its connector and its weight. Under ADA, the gas station pump handle is not ADA compliant because it weighs too much with the hose. Same thing with our fast charge cable connector assembly. It's beyond the weight, and you just legally, because of National Electric Code, you can't change it. We have to take public protection first, and it's just too heavy. That being said, when you as a consumer go into this dealership and you buy the new Audi plug-in electric or the new electric they will have, you as a consumer, because you came in here and you bought it here, you accept the liabilities and the responsibilities required because you took the action here to do so. You can't sue after the fact because, oh, well, I didn't know. Well, what do you mean you didn't know? You went to the dealership, you drove the car, you got the lesson, you had to play with the equipment. What do you mean you didn't know? It won't hold up in court. So therein gets into the issue. Yes, sir, question?
Wireless is reaching the level that it would sure take care of all the ADA requirements.
Wireless charging. We're not going to support it in SMUD service district because of the cost and the losses. It's basically just a transformer on the ground, and it depends on orientation, and it's very critical about orientation and the air gap. When you get into level 2 charging, you're maybe between 75 and 80% efficient, maybe. You get into the DC fast charging, it's much worse than that. So just be aware of, you're going to, as the customer, for example, if you have, like this lady with her Audi, you had it equipped with under the chassis electric vehicle charging through inductive. So you bought the equipment for your garage. You had the box put on the wall, you have the cable come out, you have the primary transformer on the ground, and somehow, some way, you have maybe some tennis balls orientated above to help you keep the car going in straight, and the head in your dashboard hits the windshield hits the tennis ball right square of the middle of the rearview mirror. Okay, I'm in position. Maybe. Maybe not. But the height, the air gap between the bottom of the car and that transformer, that's part of your losses. The greater the distance, the greater the losses. And then the more voltage and current you start pushing, that number just goes up very, very sharply, very radically. And a lot of people are pushing it simply because it's a quick, easy, simple solution, just drive over and go. But just be aware of the cost. And that's what we want people to understand as a utility company. We're not saying the technology is bad, just be aware of the cost. They're expensive, they're patented, there's IP rights, and there's losses, and you're going to see it in your electric bill. Okay? I'm not trying to put down inductive. I want you to be aware of the technical issues, the IP issues, as well as the loss issues and your electric bill and how it's going to affect your wallet. Anything else? So what's happening beyond our fast chargers next year? We're going into an incentivized program. We're going to be working with, we'd hope to have 33 fast chargers by the end of 10 years and through an incentivized program. So I'll know more when the budget's approved and how that's going to work, but I'll keep you posted. Thank you very much for your time.
Let's give a real hand. It's tough being the first guy to install these things. Just that they have the kind of attitude that they do, it's just very impressive. We're very lucky to have SMUD. Let's do a second round just for SMUD again. All right.
Don't worry, I have another 10,000 I'll bring next time.
Can you, there we go. Cheaper by the dozen. Before we leave SMUD completely, just a couple other notes. Some other things that SMUD has done is that they are trying to eliminate some of the anxiety of the impact on your electric bill. So they've got a program that essentially they're offering the first year's electricity for free for your car if you bought it as of this year. What that boils down to is really a $300 credit on your bill. But that should be able to get you anything you'd be able to drive in a year.
Who was that with?
That's SMUD. SMUD is offering for, SMUD is, as of this year, a drive for free with your electric car by providing a $300, essentially a $300 credit on your bill if you bought it this year. And your wife knows all about it, Phil. The lease as well, doesn't matter. It has to be a new car, it can't be a used car.
It has to be new to you.
Thank you, Smug.
New,
New to you.
but it can't,
New to you.
So it can be a used car.
it cannot, I've been told it's supposed to, it cannot be a used car.
I don't know that. I just know it has to be new to you. That's all part of it.
Okay. The word we've gotten from the people managing the program is a, for a newly purchased or leased car. All right. In addition, by the way, we mentioned the airport. The rumor is that now they've got some funds to convert some of those paddle chargers in the parking garage over to the J-plugs, so that'll be helping alleviate some of the congestion. Do a quick rundown here on what's going on with the fast chargers.
Can you just explain what you just said?
Sure. In the parking garage, oh, I'm sorry, the J1772 is the plug that we're all familiar with when plugging electric cars. There are paddle chargers that are in that are the old technology for some of the old vehicles that are no longer really being used. Those are that are still in the parking garage at the Sacramento airport. Those are being converted over to the J1772.
Is there a possibility that we could do low current on those and do twice as many spaces?
We've been talking about that, but there seem to be issues with that. It's not clear. We've been suggesting that, but there are some issues.
I found a truck parked in an electric spot last week or 2 weeks ago. Is that legal? Can anybody?
If it's signed, they should be able to cite it at least.
Yeah, okay.
And so I would just contact the guys you see, the parking police there. Actually, just quickly, how many people run into an electric charging station being blocked by by a gas car more than once a month? Okay.
Odenthal and Sacramento garage is really bad. That's because they don't allow,
All right.
they allow regular cars to park on weekends in electric spots.
Yeah, that's true. They are assigned to allow that on, and off hours, I even think some. So just a quick rundown. I apologize if you can't really see this very well, but this is a map showing the fast chargers. There are existing fast chargers in the state, and we've got, I guess, close to 900 DC fast chargers. Not all of them are multi-mode. Some are CHAdeMO only. Some are only SAE. Some are Teslas. But we're starting to get some coverage. But it's been a sore point, I think, in our long-range travel is not having fast charging enough. There was some bids accepted to put in some more charging fast chargers along the north-south corridors. If you can see this, these are additional charging stations going along 5, 99, again 99 and 5 going down, and this is, I guess, 101. So that's going to add another 61 DC fast chargers. They're asking requests for proposals for another set of chargers along the coast. If you read this, if you can tell, there's green, which is existing, purple, which is the ones I just talked about being added, but those will be you'll see those being deployed next year. And then the ones that are out for essentially for bids are in red. And those will start then showing up in 2018. Now that corresponds well, if you think about it, with the 200-mile range vehicles coming out the end of this year and into next year. So it's hoped that the combination of more fast chargers along the corridors and the longer range vehicles are enough to put a big knee in the adoption curve. So that if you have a 200-mile range car and you have fast charging along your path of travel, you're pretty good and cover most situations that people have. It does not, well, this is, I've blown this up a little bit so you can see immediately the region around us. In addition to that, PG&E is applying for, to put in another 100 fast chargers. In there's other entities like the BMW and Nissan that are putting chargers in. So this is what I referred to, what I think is potentially the 200-mile range cars plus the fast chargers. Is it a knockout punch for the gas cars? Not, it's a huge move forward, but it's not quite there yet. If you look at a family wanting to take their kids and luggage to Disneyland, they make some assumptions like they don't want to drop below a range of 10 miles on their electric car. All the stations aren't perfectly optimal for their trip. And they only fill to 80%. But most of the chargers going in are 50 kilowatt chargers. What that boils down to, especially if you're doing real freeway driving, you're going to have between stations maybe you'll be able to drive 120 miles with those conditions, assuming a starting point of a 200-mile battery. But that's an hour and 3/4 or so of driving. And the problem is the recharge time still takes you 50 minutes. So it still doesn't solve completely the taking the family down to Disneyland. It's a huge step forward. I think it'll help dramatically. People feel much more comfortable about it, but it's not there yet. Now, I think Andy might have an idea on how we solve some of those problems. So next, I'd like to bring up Andy, if you would, Dr. Frank, come up and talk about long-range plug-in hybrids. Dr. Frank, by the way, is Professor Emeritus at UC Davis and is widely known for the inventor or the discoverer of the plug-in hybrid. So, pinch this a little bit.
Just in case, a lot of you folks.
By the way,
Oh, okay. A lot of you folks. What? Oh.
some people have seen me on that.
Yeah, don't sit down. A lot of you folks don't know me, but I've been working on this plug-in hybrid stuff for over 40 years. So I've been here, done this, done that, and done a lot of things. But that's an early picture. It's got almost the same white hair. Anyway, the point is, what I want to do is, let's see how this works. Oh yeah, here we go. So what is a plug-in hybrid? I'm going to talk about a different kind of plug-in hybrid. And that's a plug-in hybrid with a long electric range. Does anybody know one? The Volt. And what's the difference between the Volt and a C-Max, our air resource support, and a new Audi, as a matter of fact? What's the big difference?
Longer range.
Longer? No, not longer range, because you got gasoline. You got 350 miles range.
EV range.
Longer EV range. And what does that translate into? Weight, yeah. No, it translates into fuel, how much fuel you save. And it isn't what you save on a trip that's important. What is important? No, what you save in a year. So if you're focused on saving fuel, and that's what we should be focused on, what's better, a plug-in hybrid or an EV? That's one of the questions I'd like to answer. Or whatever other question you might have. So the difference is, if you go to a long-range plug-in hybrid, I call that a PHEVLER. This is my name. That's a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle with long electric range. How much fuel are you going to save in a year? Anybody know?
What's the total electric range then?
The full electric range is double, 2 times the average daily range. What is the average daily range?
33.
33 miles. Even a guy in a Tesla only drives 33 miles a day on the average, right? So why do you have a 300-mile range? Why? Why? Because you treat gasoline like electricity. Is that right or wrong? It's wrong. Why? Because electricity ain't gasoline. And all this talk about fast charge, it's great. I'm all for it and all that. But we're treating electricity like gasoline, and that's a wrong thing to do. What you should be treating electricity is like what it is, electricity. It's stored in a battery, and fast charge, incidentally, a lot of people say is more efficient. Not for the battery, because all batteries have internal resistance, and anybody that knows anything about electrical engineering, when you double the charge, what happens to the efficiency and the losses? It quadruples. It goes up by 4, goes up by the square of the current. So if your fast charge charges you 10 times faster, that means you lose 100 times more energy than you do with a slow charge. 100 times, just 10 times. So a 6 kilowatt to a 70 kilowatt, that's more than 10 times, you're going to lose a lot of energy. And where's that energy go? Heating the battery. That's what it does. It's not good. All right. Don't want to get on that anymore. So what about this plug-in hybrid that's a PHEVLER that has double the electric range? We started out by saying the purpose of all this electrification is to displace gasoline. So Idaho National Labs came out with a study where they collected the information from all the votes sold and all the Leafs sold. And they collected the information, and what they found was that the Leaf and the Volt have the same electric miles. So what does that mean? And it turned out to be about 8,500 miles. But the average person drives 12,000 miles. 8,500 from 12,000 is about 2,500 miles or something like that. 3,500. Well, anyway, you do the math. Anyway, the point is, everybody drove 12,000 miles on the average. So the Volt guy drove his own car on the gasoline miles. What did the Leaf guy do? He drove a regular car at low fuel economy. So what does that mean? That means the Leaf guy actually burned more gasoline per year than the Volt guy. Hey, whatever said that, right? Well, that's the fact. Now, when you go to the new Volt, it's even better. It's 90% electric miles and less than 10% gasoline miles. So we're now arguing only 10% gasoline. And I will say that this car, this new Volt, will probably, I'm not selling Volt particularly, but selling the idea of the long-range plug-in hybrid. And the advantage is you displace more miles. It's not fuel economy, it's how many miles you're displacing with electricity. So the other thing about the Volt, I can drive to Los Angeles essentially on 2 tanks of gas. So I stop in Harris Ranch, and I go to the gas station, and 5 minutes later I'm on the road while the Teslas are sitting there charging. for an hour or two. So there's no range anxiety.
We're actually having a big hamburger for lunch.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. Every time I've been down to Solvang, I find a bunch, every Tesla charge station used, and a bunch of guys sitting out waiting. So you have to have 2 lunches. Okay. The other thing that a plug-in hybrid can do, if you put solar on your roof in your house, how much power do you generate? 6 or 8 kilowatts, depending on. Okay, 6 or 8 kilowatts can charge your car. Actually, 1.5 kilowatts would charge your car. The other thing about the plug-in hybrid, these volts, and in fact, in talking to General Motors, when they brought out the new Volt, which is almost a PHEVLER, they talked about only offering it with level 1 charging, 110 volts. No fast charge, not even level 2, 3.3 kilowatts. Why?
Battery life.
Well, number one, yeah, it helps the battery life, but why what's the other reason? The other, yeah. Well, you don't need level 2 because you got gasoline. So the idea of the Chevy Volt is to charge at night. And that means when you get home, you plug it in, and when you wake up, it's full. In fact, there's enough energy overnight, 12 hours, I don't know, you eat dinner and you eat breakfast and you sleep 8 hours. That's more than 12 hours. But anyway, in that time, even at 1 kilowatts, that's 12 kilowatt hours. The Chevy Volt has about 10, 11 kilowatt hours. So that's more than enough time to charge the Chevy Volt on level 1.
That's if you have a dedicated circuit.
Huh?
You have to have a dedicated circuit to do that.
No, you don't. Level 1 is 110 volts.
That's still 16 amps.
If it's at 16 amps.
No, it's 12 amps. 12 amps. And your breakers are at 15 amps.
But nothing else can be on that line then.
Well, you got to be careful. Yeah. So do you park your car where your refrigerator is? Well, if you have a refrigerator in your garage, you might.
See?
Yeah. But if you don't have a refrigerator in your garage, you need if you have a refrigerator in your garage, you should have a extra. Okay, let me go through these slides real quick. So here's the idea. 90% of the energy comes out of the wall plug, the plug-in hybrid, and you use gasoline. And in the long run, that 10% gasoline could be biofuel, period. So if your electricity in the long run is 90% from solar or wind, and the 10% is biofuel, you have a zero emission. You don't need fuel cells. No need for fuel cells. Okay, so here's the picture. All the energy comes from the sun, even oil. But here's 10% from biofuel, and incidentally, when you buy gasoline here in the state of California, what is it? It's not gasoline. It's not all gasoline. It's 90% gasoline, 10% ethanol. So this means if everybody bought a Volt, we can forget about the gasoline. We can go from our society today to zero gasoline society tomorrow if everybody had a Volt. Okay. Without impacting the biofuel structure, the ethanol structure. We have that supply already. We just don't mix it with gasoline. Okay, there are 3 energy cycles. If you use oil, we have to create dinosaurs to create the oil again. That's a 500 million year loop. If we use biofuel, that's a 1 year to 50 1 to 50 year loop, depending whether you're using corn and trees and so on. The solar wind cycle is a 1 day cycle. That's the big difference. Solar and wind can charge you with 1 day. it's hard to charge a Tesla one day, but a plug-in hybrid can be done in one day. So, electric grid improvement. If you had an intelligent grid, we could level the grid load. And what does that mean? That means the efficiency of the grid is improved because our grid is only used for about 20 to 30% of its capacity. Why? Because we don't use it at full power. And what are we using differently in charging a vehicle by using the grid? We're using the grid not for power. What are we using it for? Storage. For what? Storage. No, we're using it for energy. So the grid can transfer about 5 to 10 times more energy depending on where you use the grid. The US DOE has studied this, and they claim that the existing grid, if we level the load with the existing grid, can supply every car and truck in the entire United States with energy, not power, energy. So there's a difference. So if people forget what that is, you got to read your physics book, okay? All right. So the grand picture is this. The plug-in hybrid with the ability to feed energy back and forth. Incidentally, if we're charging a 1.5 kilowatt, we could also put energy back into the grid at 1.5 kilowatts. And most important, there was this discussion about wireless. You can do it at 1.5 kilowatts, but you have a hard time doing it at high power. And the efficiency goes way down as you go up in power. So your toothbrush is charged wirelessly, right? Okay, that's at about 50 watts or 25 watts. But that whole technology can be scaled up to 1 kilowatt easily. So wireless, I'm totally for it, and that's what we should be going for. And if you did that, you wouldn't even have to worry about plug-in. One other quick thing, just a comment. I hate to comment on other people's stuff, but this is a comment. Why do we have a fast charger at the airport and at the train station? Everybody who comes to the train station or go to the airport is gone for 6, 7 hours.
It's for the people who are picking them up and dropping them off, picking them up mostly.
Yeah, but you don't need fast charge because you came from home less than 30 miles.
In El Dorado Hills.
Okay, more than 30 miles. So what? You got a Tesla with 300 miles.
No, you don't.
Okay,
You have a Leaf.
Okay, you have a Leaf, you leave that one at home, you drive your gasoline car if it's too far. That's the whole point. That's why if you have a Volt, you don't have that problem. So anyway, okay. Now, I told you that I've been messing around with this stuff for a long, long time. I started this stuff way back in 1965. So I built, well, before batteries, I built flywheel cars. That's a flywheel bike. Then I built, by the way, this is a 60-mile all-electric range Ford Taurus. I built that in 1996, 20 years ago. This is a Chevy Suburban. Okay, that's what I did then. And at the GM Proving Grounds, I showed that we could build a SUV, a plug-in hybrid with 60 miles all-electric range and charge it from solar panels. Okay, my company now are building trucks and buses. These are all plug-in hybrids with long electric range. I tried to size the batteries for double the daily travel. That means I can displace 90% of the fuel that these vehicles use. If you do that, and by the way, it can go anywhere and at full power. So we have these vehicles all with full power or better performance. In fact, here's the Chevy Dually that we have converted to a plug-in hybrid, and that car performs better than the Chevy. and at the same time, it goes about 40 miles all electrically. Okay, conclusion is we can do it all with a plug-in hybrid, and the plug-in hybrid that General Motors is making and the Chevy Volt is getting close to what we need. And that's what we should be focusing on, because you don't need charging infrastructure. You can do it with level 1. You don't have to, in other words, you could charge your car, not recommended, but it can charge your car with an extension cord. You don't need anything special. And that is surprising to a lot of people. So why are we spending all this money on all kinds of special stuff? Because the Chevy Volt, by the way, doesn't cost much more than the new Chevy Bolt, which in fact are almost the same price. The Chevy Bolt has a 200-mile all-electric range. It's all electric. And the Chevy Volt has a 55-mile all-electric range, but it's got a little gasoline engine. And incidentally, a lot of people don't know, the gasoline engine in the Chevy Volt for the same size car is 1/2 the size of this Cruze, the same body, 1/2 the size. So when it's running, it's much more efficient than a gasoline car. It's not a gasoline car, it's a much more efficient gasoline car. All right, so I hope I answered some of your questions. Yeah, I'm sure you got much more.
I would ask you for PHEVs, would you recommend that the onboard chargers be 6.6 kilowatt hour instead of 3.3? Or are you happy with 3.3?
I don't have a 6.7 available. I've only charged with 1.2 or 3.3. That's it in my Volt. Incidentally, I'm on my second generation Volt. My first generation, I had 80,000 miles, and the average fuel economy was 120 miles per gallon. My new Volt is showing 160 miles per gallon now. Yeah.
When do I get my hybrid van, so I can carry?
No problem. We can.
Repeat the question if you would, Andy. Repeat the question.
What? Yeah. What is the problem with a plug-in hybrid van? If I can make this pickup truck, I can make a van. It's just the car companies haven't done it yet. Chrysler, I think, is coming out with a van.
Chrysler is coming out with the Pacifica plug-in hybrid.
Yeah, the Pacific. And I think it's.
Oh, next year. Oh,
Yeah.
They always introduce, and then there's a pause.
Yep, it's coming.
Yeah, but I need it now.
Well.
Andy, over here.
Oh, yeah.
We all need it yesterday, but the Q7 will be coming out in about a year and a half with the plug-in hybrid E-Tron as well.
What's that?
Q7.
What's the Q7?
Q7 is 3-row seating, 7 people.
Yeah, that's.
Okay.
SUV.
Hatchback and
It looks like a small, an oversized wagon, as it were.
I want to
I'm sure Audi will do a good job. The only thing I wish Audi would do is make it into a PHEVLER, add the electric range.
Right.
If you did,
It's coming.
yeah, I'm sure it's coming. The Germans have been doing great jobs, so I'm not arguing that. Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, what's the charge cycle on the efficient drivetrain platforms?
What's that?
What's the typical recharge cycle on the
Yeah. All of our drive cycles are, whatever the truck driving cycle is. But the drivetrain is simpler than the Volt. I saw the Chevy guy here. It's simpler than the Volt because we don't have any gears, we don't have any oil. So we have an electric transmission that is essentially a dry transmission. So the maintenance on it is zero, virtually. What do you care? Because if you plug it into, in these trucks, by the way, these trucks have 35 or 40 kilowatt hours. The Volt has 18 kilowatt hours. So obviously, using the same electricity, same power, it's going to take a little bit longer.
It's going to take longer. I was just wondering so you're at 40.
They're 18 kilowatt. I mean, these are 30 to 40 kilowatt hours. This truck is 40 kilowatt hours. This one is about 35. so on. Everyone's a little bit different. But they're still charging overnight. Oh yeah, that's the whole idea. Most people aren't working at night. That's when you charge. That's what you want to do. And that's when the grid has excess capacity. Yeah.
I think the one thing that's missing from your charts is for example, water pollution, oil. The vaults still have oil systems, fluid systems that pollute. If you look nationally at the amount of oil that enters waterways from cars, it's phenomenal, the amount of oil. You still have the air.
That's right. That's why we built these transmissions specially. These are all electric transmissions that sort of do the same thing as the gears, except that there's no oil. It's all electronics. And the advantage is we don't use any oil. Now, by the way, my Chevy Volt, after 80,000 miles, I changed the oil once. Out of 80,000 miles, I changed the engine oil once. Didn't touch the brakes at all. And the brakes are almost like new after 80,000 miles. So in fact, that car now has over 90,000. My grandson is driving it. He's actually nursed the batteries up a little bit.
Thank you, Andy. Okay, we're almost done. Andy always forgets one of the downsides of you keep forgetting the downside of these plug-in hybrids. It's a medical condition. I mean, I don't know how treatable it is, but it's generally exhibited by an obsessive compulsion about not using gas. It's got the gas engine. They call it gas anxiety, and it is exhibited by Volt drivers. It's an affliction that we have to solve, Andy, so you can work on that part as well.
Well, that's not so bad. That kind of anxiety is a good anxiety.
That's a good anxiety. All right. So, Andy, furthermore, my daughter just a week ago went around to the different Chevy dealerships, and it's been a long time looking at all the different cars at Sullivan, and bought a Volt there just a week ago. So we have that affliction back in our family again, Andy. So anyway, we'll work through that. So it's been a full day. I want to thank again Niello, Audi for hosting us.